Yes, y'all. We back again, man. It's your guy DJ Klyph with another episode of Klyph Notes. You know, it's I can't even like say monthly or whatever anymore because now I've decided. Shout out to my man DJ Zimmy for a bunch of different reasons. DJ Zimmy, who is working on the documentary on DJing. You definitely need to be up on that. If you're not familiar with that, I had an opportunity to do an interview with him a while ago talking about that. So, but DJ Zimmy actually coined the title because it used to just be called DJ Klyph Presents, and then he said, "Nah, you should call it Klyph Notes." So, big ups to my man DJ Zimmy. And then also DJ Zimmy said, in terms of putting out podcasts, he's like, "Why put them out like on a regular basis? Put them out when you have something worthwhile talking about." And today, I definitely have something worthwhile talking about, so I'm super excited about this. Remember, you can subscribe to the podcast all kinds of ways: iTunes, DJKlyph.com. The DJ Klyph podcast website through, I don't know, just go to DJKlyph.com and it's all there. And then remember, you can also check me out every Saturday night on X-Ray FM, Welcome to the Neighborhood, featuring a bunch of local Portland hip-hop artists and then just, representing the underrepresented on Welcome to the Neighborhood. And then also check out Mic Check, the event that happens every last Thursday of the month at White Eagle McMenamins in Portland, Oregon. Okay, got all the business out of the way. So, I like I said, I'm super excited about doing this interview today. This is an artist who I was introduced to, I don't know, like 6 months ago. I don't remember how long ago, but I just like from the jump, I was like, yo, totally enamored with this individual. Shout out to Star Child who made the connect. She's been a guest on Welcome to the Neighborhood. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Wynne. What's up?
What's up, man?
Portland hip hop. Let's go.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the summer, all the music I get to make. I'm excited for the mic check that's coming up.
What are you talking about, Wynne?
That mic check.
I don't know, how you talking
July
about
27th, White Eagle.
That's what's up, man.
Let's get it.
So I'm just super excited to have you do that. I'm
hyped. Yeah.
I'm so geeked to have you.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
No doubt. And then some other stuff we're gonna get into as well. So a little bit of backstory. Star Child and I were talking about, in large part, Mic Check, but then also talking about some of the other things that we've been working on. Like, man, we need to find some MCs that we just aren't familiar with yet, and it would really be dope to find some dope female MCs. And so I knew of Karma Rivera.
Very dope.
Of course, Last Artful Dodger, who just
Super
voted
dope.
best Portland
hip hop artist. Yeah.
And with Willamette Week poll.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dodger, big up.
Shout out.
And he was like, somebody sent me a link. This artist named Wynne, you should check her out. I was like, all right, send me a link. And then, Star Child could be doing 100 million different things. And then finally I got a link and I saw the video for Catalyst.
Yeah.
Dude. I was like, yo, no hook, 6 minutes of nothing but bars.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
And from then on, I just been like, I be telling everybody about you. Like, I be at work. Yo, there's this female MC, people who ain't even in hip hop. This female MC in Portland. Yo, you got to check for her.
Thank you.
Just so, it's so dope to see someone as passionate about the music as you are, and who's obviously put in the work.
Thank you.
But for people who aren't familiar, man, let's get into your backstory a little bit, like where it all started for you.
So I am from Lake Oswego, which is a very non-diverse community. And I attribute my love for hip-hop to my older brother. He introduced Eminem to me when I was 9. And I immediately just remember going, whoa. Like the rhyme schemes that he uses on Lose Yourself blew me away immediately. And we'd shared an iTunes account, so I went into my little crappy MP3 and I pulled up Eminem and I had 10 songs of his and I would rap every single one of them before I went to bed for like 2 years. Wow. My brother would come in and be like, you're too loud, what are you doing, like you shouldn't be saying those things. I'm like, I don't know what I was saying, I was just rapping. And when I was 12, I was like, this is what I'm going to do with my life. And I started writing songs every day. But I was embarrassed because I was from Lake Oswego and I'm a woman. And people, they're going to think I'm just the weirdest person ever for trying. So I just stayed quiet and worked. And here I am.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it's funny because, I mean, you definitely do. You give a good number of reasons why. Yeah, I could see why you were a little bit nervous about coming out as an MC. Yeah. But again, when people hear what you do, man, you can tell that you've definitely put in the work, that you study the craft.
Yeah.
Which to me is dope because I'm an old head. And, you know, I remember the beginnings and sort of where this whole thing has come from.
Yeah.
And I appreciate folk who really take time to learn the history. Mm-hmm. And like I said, really work on their craft.
You don't want anyone to catch you slipping. You got to know everything. Right. Especially if you're white. You know, you got to be on it because they're going to call you out. The second you slip something, you got to know it. Right. So I spent my entire high school career, I would go to PALS and I'd pick up every hip hop book I could find. Right. And I would sit in my room and I would just read through them. And then I took hip hop classes in college and I was just trying to make everything about hip hop and put it in my brain so I could be aware of what I'm doing, what I'm getting into, the history behind it, the people who came before me, how other women did it, and it's really impacted the way that I write in terms of like rhyme schemes and stories and verses and things like that. As
a, sort of a typical question, but maybe not, as a female MC, as you look through that history of hip hop, and to a great degree the misogyny that still exists in hip hop. Yeah. For me, there are a couple of female MCs who really just stood out on their own. Queen Latifah, MC Light. Yeah. I mean, MCs who were MCs. Yeah. And nobody came at them sideways. Right. Because Roxanne Shante. Yeah. Nobody came at because they would get crushed. Right. So as an up and coming female MC, in an age where misogyny, in my opinion, not only is still a part of hip hop, but unfortunately, I think to a great extent, even embraced by a lot of female artists. Right. What do you do with that?
It's a huge contradiction that I have as a female MC because I've had so many moms come up to me and go, this is really great, but how can you support the things Eminem are saying? And I'm like, he used to be my favorite artist. I was obsessed with him. He was like my god. Mm-hmm. And how can I justify the things he talks about? Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing that I can do is instead of talking about the things that I disagree with, promoting the things that I do agree with, and being that role model that I had in Queen Latifah and in MC Light, in Lauryn Hill, and to be that for other young girls and just show them you don't have to pay attention to the negative stuff because look at what women can do. And I think that's absolutely the most important thing that I can do in my career.
No doubt. Even at this stage of your career, seeing yourself as a role model, utilizing the platform that you have to influence, that's crazy dope. That's crazy dope.
Yeah, it's fun. There's a lot of I get videos from moms or older sisters of their little sisters rapping at a talent show or something, and people come up to me after a show and go, man, I wish my little sister were here to see this. And that feels insane. It feels so good.
That's what's up. Yeah. That's what's up. Chopping up with Wynne. Do you get a lot of folk responding, I guess, the way that, like I'm super fan. A lot of folk who, you're a little unassuming. Like seeing you walking down the street.
Absolutely.
Would never in a million years expect you to do what you can do on the mic. So when people see you or hear you for the first time, are you still getting a lot of that eyes wide open?
Is the sky blue? Yeah. It's very, and that's, I went viral last summer for that Sogon challenge, and that's the whole reason I went viral. Is because of what I look like. And there were so many people who rapped better than me or had better lyrics, and is because of what I look like solely. And Snoop Dogg posted that video. He wouldn't have posted it if I weren't a white girl. Like, that's just so obvious. And it's important for me to be aware of that and know that I can't just ride on that. It has to be from the core, from the heart, MC first before anything else. But it's also fun to be like after the Team Backpack mic check event, I just wanted to say, like, if I surprised you, good. It's I think it's an important reminder for people to not judge a book by its cover for anyone of any race, of any gender, any religion, anything. Right.
It's funny because after the Team Backpack cipher that we did with Mic Check, it was people that I know who maybe really weren't even familiar with what we were doing with Mic Check, weren't at all familiar with Team Backpack, kind of didn't know what to expect, maybe came just in support of. man, so many of the comments that I got about your performance was what I expected, because what I've been able to see you do and listening to your music and the time that I have.
Thank you.
That makes me happy when your art is exposed to greater audiences.
Thank you. Yeah.
Speaking of art, do you look at your craft as art? Do you look at your craft as entertainment, education, all the above?
That's a really good question. I've never had that question. I look at it as art 100%. Mm-hmm. And that's becoming a lot more apparent to me. Well, I'd also considered education on certain songs, and entertainment, I guess. But art specifically is what I'm really feeling right now, especially as I'm getting a lot more crafty in the way I record, and especially listening to Kendrick, someone who really is the epitome of using your voice as an instrument. And you could say the same thing for Nicki Minaj too. Is not only, just rapping, but being a hip hop artist at the core, and really getting into the mixing process and saying, okay, how can we really paint the picture that the lyrics are saying with the mix? And that's become really fun for me as I've become a huge part of my own mixing processes with my engineer Ty. And that has really made it feel more artistic as a whole in itself. But then the education factor comes in. I don't want to say it's always a very blunt education. I feel like kind of the wave that's going through music right now is sort of a passive education type thing. Like, you could say that about Beyonce's Lemonade, that a lot of it isn't outright black feminism, but that's what it is at the core. And she doesn't have to say that for everyone to know that's how it is. And that's what makes it so powerful. And that's kind of the education that I strive to reach the level of in my own music.
You mentioned using your voice as an instrument for folk who maybe are listening to this, who maybe aren't familiar with what Kendrick and Nicki do. Talk more about that.
It's really understanding every capacity of your voice and what you can do with it. And Kendrick is a prime example of someone who he has probably like 5 different voices that he can tap into, and you never know which one he's going to come with on which track, but he really pays attention to what the song calls for, what the beat sounds like it needs a little contrast in, or maybe a little lack of contrast. And Nicki has all these different personalities, and they all have different voices. And they're people who I think are using the full capability of themselves and of their voice to create art.
No doubt. Do you find that including your fan base in your recording process and influence on that? And I ask that because I follow you on social media, and you do that quite a bit. Sometimes just in the creative process, you're sharing that with your fans. So you're obviously going to get feedback from folks. Does that help you sort of develop some of those voices? Yeah,
I think really the thing that's helped me become the artist that I'm trying to become now is just time. And some of it's the fan interaction and seeing kind of what they respond to, but at the end of the day, I'm making music for me, and it's always been for me. And if I'm making music and I'm releasing it for other people, then is it really honest? So, I make music. There's people who I'd consider like mentors, and people whose opinions I really respect. And if I send them a song that I really like, and they hit me back with, not sure about this, then I'm going to think about it and go, okay, if this person I respect is a little bit iffy, then maybe they know I can push myself harder. And I obviously can, because I don't think anybody ever reaches their full potential. But if it's, a wide variety of people who are saying, this is the music you need to make, this is how you need to do it, I can't do that, because I can only be myself. And if I'm not, then it's not worth it for me to get into it.
It's so crazy for you to have that realization at this stage of your career.
Thank you.
I think that's dope, because I think oftentimes early in careers, folk are sort of looking for their voice, not so much their voice in the artistic sense that we were talking about, but really who they are as individuals. And, again, as an old head, I understand that as you go, that does change just because of life experience. But I think having that foundation is really, really valuable, so that you don't really get too far off track.
Definitely.
So with that, and sort of seeing the trends, because now I think trends happen so quickly.
Right.
You know, I think earlier
Yes.
in music, you'd have a trend and it would be there for years.
Right.
Now trends change, you know, sometimes monthly to
Monthly,
month.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's wild.
So what do you do with that? I mean, do you feel any pressure in, you know, do I need to be more trappish? Do I need to do more of this or that? Do you feel any of that, or do you find it's just easy to be, nah, I'm just going to stay in my lane?
I wish that I had that answer that's like, I'm going to stay in my lane no matter what.
Yeah.
But I dance a very fine line between making hip-hop and cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
So whatever I make, I need to always be aware of that line that I can never cross. So everything I make needs to be hip-hop at the core, which is how I've always made music.
Yeah.
But as I start listening to artists, and I love Drake, as I start listening to people like him, or, you know, just, and I'm not big on like I respect every artist because I know what it's like to make something and release it and have people be like,
Yeah.
that you put everything into.
Yeah.
But I'm not as big on the mumble rap phase that's going on right now.
Yeah.
But I pay attention to the melodies that they use. And I need to be really careful of how far I cross over into pop because I hope someday to be a mainstream artist in order to reach the amount of people that I want to reach with the message that I have to bring. And I think that it's really important for me to be aware of the cultural trends, but to also pay attention to those and turn them into my own and make them me. And I think the biggest thing that I'm finding as I'm starting to find my artistic voice is that it's not really a specific sound as much as it is an attitude. And I think no matter what sound an album comes with, it'll always be that same Wynne attitude that I have as a person.
Yeah, that's dope.
Thank you.
So growing as an artist, having the ear of an even greater mass of fan base, to share your message, what is that?
I want people to know how important it is, and I know this, so many artists say this, but I feel like people turn to hip-hop for a reason. And I find that a lot of the times with the artists that I look up to, my friends that make hip-hop, it's because they've always felt like a little bit of an outcast. And they turn to hip-hop because it seems to understand them. And they have an ear, so even if the song isn't specifically about their life, they can imagine that it is. And I've always been like the black sheep in my life. I didn't fit into my high school. I was always the different kid. So, and that messed me up. Like, I was so depressed in high school. Like, it was just the most miserable time. And when I got to college and I really started putting everything into my music and meeting people around me who were like me, who didn't want to just go get messed up every weekend and just smoke blunts all day, who wanted to like put something into their craft and take time with it, it changed my whole perspective. And it made me realize, I wish I would have been like this in high school. I wish I didn't care what they thought. But instead, I would go to lunch and I would sit outside in my car and I'd write. And so that's the kind of message that I want to bring to people is don't care what they think. Because it's so tempting to, and it's so tempting to get sucked up, especially in high school and in middle school where it's important to be cool or whatever. It's really not, because there's a Bryson Tiller line on his latest album, True to Self, and it's like, he just says, low-key, them cool kids wasn't as cool as me, bruh. And it's like, it just feels so good to hear that, because to me, being cool isn't some materialistic thing. It's not something you can buy. It's not something you're like, it's not something other people make you. It's just what you're born with and who you are, because you're literally the only version of you. And how sick is that? Like, there's not another DJ Klyph in this world. I'm sitting with the only one.
And like, feel pretty good about myself.
And like, how important is that to always be that? And if you aren't that person, then we're missing that person. And it's so rare to become a human. I don't know the statistic, but it's crazy to become a human. You could have been like a bug, but here you are, a human. And you have a purpose to do that. And if you're trying to be someone else, you can't do it.
Wynne here kicking knowledge for the head, man. You talk about now being amongst folk who are more like-minded artistically. Are there is there like so far, I mean, already, is there the Wynne lost tapes? Is there, stuff out there that maybe...
There is quite a bit of stuff out there. If you dig, like really dig, you can find an hour-long live radio session for my campus radio with my band on campus, where I'm covering everything from Rapper's Delight to That's the Joint.
Oh, word.
Okay. Like you can find all that stuff on the internet.
Go digging then. That's what's
up. You can find all that stuff. But I have a ton of unreleased stuff that I've just been waiting, because every month I'm starting to get better. And so it's like, well, if I release this now, I'm going to hate it in a week. So it's really been locking myself away with my engineer Ty and spending all of our time just like pushing to get better, because I'm almost at the point where I'm just ready to burst and I'm ready to just like release a bunch of music, but it's just about being patient and like really honing in on what I can do.
That's what's up, man. Chopping it up with Wynne. In terms of the content that's out there, specifically, man, when I heard the joint that you wrote for the leader of our country, the letter that you wrote, man, there was depth to that song. So much depth to that song. And to see you sort of put a lot of what we've already talked about together in one song, the artistic component of it, your skill, the depth and the heart behind the words that you wrote. What was the response that you got from that?
That was probably one of the most important songs I'll ever make. And I knew that going into it, because the story of how that song came about, before I tell you the reactions I got, was, I don't know if I told you this, but I got a call from a guy named Kenny Burns on Christmas Eve. And Kenny Burns does like the marketing with Diddy for Diddy Enterprises. And he like hosts these crazy parties for like Drake and Kanye and Rick Ross. And he calls me one day because he found me from Steve Rifkin, who was the CEO of Loud and SRC. And he goes, yo, there's a reason that people are starting to pay attention to you right now. And it's because you have the privilege to speak up on something as our country's about to change. And we talked to each other for about an hour, and it's like midnight. And he was just like, I felt like I was being... like it was the craziest phone call I've ever had. He was just so wise, and he was just filling me with all this information. And he was like, you should write a letter. And he was like, and it needs to be smart enough that CNN would put it on their thing. I go, okay, I can do that. And I needed to do that. And I wanted to do it when he won the electoral vote. And I didn't know what to say. And when he said, just write a letter, don't make it complicated, just say what you think. And so I buckled down. I think I wrote 10 versions of it. I watched the 13th documentary on Netflix, which is an amazing documentary. Really good. And I make a point in every term I have of college to take at least one ethnic studies, social justice based class. So I was able to take all my notes from that and just layer that song deep. So every word in there has weight. And that's how I wanted it to be. I listened to a lot of To Pimp a Butterfly when I was writing it. And when I released it, we'd like geared up for the release. We'd taken everything down. All my profile pictures went black. Everything was gone. And we wanted it to be this big thing. We sent it to the Fader. We sent it to these people. Everyone like messed with it, but they didn't mess with it enough to blow it up. And people really liked it. I think it gave at least my core fans something to hold on to in such a weird time in our country. I think the something that I have to say is I have to shout out my trumpet player, Luke. He killed it. When that trumpet comes in, it just makes you want to cry. I mean, it shifts the whole tone of the song. And I had so many people reach out to me, DM me, whatever, and go, yo, when that trumpet comes in at the end of your song, I just started bawling. And that's what I want people to feel, that real emotion, and not forget how you feel when he's won. Like, however funny his Twitter may be, whatever stupid things he says, don't forget how you feel when he wins and how horrible that feels. Like, it may be funny sometimes, but this is our freaking country. Like, yo. And I want when people hear that song, I want them to be reminded. And I intentionally never said his name because I don't want this to happen again. But if we have another president like him, I want this song to be always relevant. I don't want it to be specific to a time. So I'll never take that song down. I think it's the most important thing I ever made. After I record it, I say, nah, I'm good. And it's because I finished and I sat down. The whole studio was pitch black, turned all the lights off. And I sat down and I just cried for like 10 minutes. And my engineer was like, yo, are you okay? And I stand up and go, no, I'm good. And it's like, because that emotion that I wasn't allowing myself to feel after he won, because I just forgot about it, whatever. And then he wins and you're writing a song and you go, whew, this is heavy.
And that definitely comes across in the recording. I mean, you can feel the raw emotion in the recording.
Yeah, I was crying.
The song, which is just crazy. Chopping up with Wynne. So it's available for everybody to go check out. All over. Wherever you get
everywhere.
Music,
it's on Apple Music. It's on Spotify. It's on Tidal. It's on SoundCloud, YouTube, anywhere. It's up there.
So, you know, Catalyst was the first thing that I saw. I saw a letter to the president. And then, I mean, so that's where I get to know you. You know, so much depth, so much. And then the next thing that I saw you release was the little
Friday flow.
Yeah, the little Friday flow, which to me is really, really cool because I think it gives people an opportunity to see another side of you. A side that is skillful, but like it's still like just a more of a light side of you, which I think is dope. Where did that come from?
So my friend Ali Tamanique, he's from Arizona. He's a dope MC. He does this thing every Friday called the Friday Flow. He produces everything. He raps on. He's super sick. And he was doing a cypher contest. And he wanted me to promo it. So he gave me the beat and was like, yo, just write like a minute-long thing and we'll put it up on my channel for the Friday Flow. And he has that kind of like bubbly sound to him. And I that's not something I would usually rap over. But it was super fun to make. And and I'm having a lot more fun with leaving space in my rhymes and ad-libs and stuff. And finding the balance between the core hip hop with the new school that I'm falling so much into. And so that was fun. I won't rap over a beat like that again because it doesn't like feel as natural for me, but it's fun. Got good reactions, a lot of retweets.
And that's one of the cool, like I said, that's the cool thing about it is that it just gives people a different shot of who you are and what you do, which is cool. If people don't already follow you on social media. So, you know, now we're here. You've kind of got some material out. You did a festival recently?
Yeah, Willamette Valley Music Festival.
Yeah. What was
up at
like?
Eugene. It was sick. So, do you know Sir the Baptist?
I know the name.
He's signed to Atlantic.
Okay.
He has a track with like Chance.
Okay.
And Killer Mike too.
Okay.
He was the headliner, and I had the opportunity. I had like an hour-long set, and it was the first time that, because I've played a bunch of 30-minute sets and whatever, or I'm always opening for someone else, so you know they don't really want to see you, and you're just kind of like, oh, I'll get out of your way. But this is the first time that I got to do a full set. Do skits, like bring water guns, like have this crazy stuff. My hype man rap is crazy. He like flips. He's a b-boy, so he's like nuts with it. What's up. And to be able to rehearse for a full month and put together this full show and go out and do an hour-long set, and these people are here to see me, it was sick. No, like there's a different energy when you're performing, but I got the opportunity to chop it up with Sir the Baptist too in his green room, and that made the experience just so much better because he's someone who I really respect. He calls himself like the hip-hop chaplain, and he's just he was such a nice guy. I got a lot of wisdom from him, so that really made the day full circle for me.
That's what's up, man. And then like we talked about, coming up at the end of July, we have an opportunity to have you bless the stage at Mic Check, which I'm so psyched for.
I'm really excited.
For folk who haven't seen you do your thing live yet, like, you know, what can you expect from the Wynne live show?
It's gonna be. I'm really excited because I've been working on a lot of new music, a lot of stuff that I think is gonna sound really good live, and I'm gonna debut, I think, 2 songs at this, so I'm really excited for them. There's a lot of energy, a lot of sass, a lot of fast rapping. I'm gonna talk to Trox. We'll talk about a couple beat cuts we can do.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm really excited.
No doubt. I mean, for me, it's really cool because Mic Check is, we built Mic Check. The whole idea was we wanted to build something that was really about hip hop, really about the art of hip hop. It was about emceeing, DJing, b-boying.
Yeah.
And so we've really tried to present artists who really represent that.
Yeah.
And for me, you fit all that. So it's, it's like it's a perfect place to see you do your thing live. So super psyched for that.
Thank you.
So that's coming up. You can get more information at the new website that's up, miccheckpdx.com.
Woohoo!
You can RSVP there, get your tickets there. There's some exclusive content there that you can listen to, live sessions from Mic Check. So get more information there. And then another thing that I'm super psyched about is in September.
Yeah.
This will be the third year that I've had an opportunity to curate a night of music for the Portland Institute of Contemporary Art Time-Based Art Festival. And we're doing Champagne and Honey.
Yeah, that's so sick.
My man Champagne Dwayne and Wynne are going to be on the bill. And I don't think I've officially announced it yet. So when this podcast drops, this will be the official announcement that DJ OG1 is going to be there, which I'm so psyched to have him. I mean, as he's continuing to recover from his health situation.
Yeah.
But again, another opportunity to work with you in an amazing event, amazing venue.
Yeah.
I always feel really blessed to have these platforms to offer to artists that I believe in. But again, looking at the local scene, so these are two events that we're really looking at trying to promote the local scene. Somebody who's from Portland, as you're looking at the Portland scene coming up, what do you like? How do you describe the Portland hip hop scene? We're getting a little bit of love nationally, but as you're looking at it as an artist, like what do you see?
It's really exciting for me because in high school, I was always a fan. I was always paying attention. I was listening to Mike Capes. I was just watching the scene, trying to figure out how to get in. And just when the time was right, you guys found me and brought me in. And it's so cool because everyone's so uplifting and they're so supportive of each other and everyone knows each other, which is a cool community to be a part of. And it just feels like it's bubbling. Like I feel like there's so many people who have so much potential to like go out and do amazing things. And shout out to Amine for like really helping that platform for the city. And especially because Portland's becoming so popular in the nation, like with Drake making that song. There's so much potential for the city. Like I'm so excited for Dodger to see what she's gonna do. Like and Mike, like just this whole, I don't know, I just feel really lucky to be a part of it and to be able to be in the same sentence as some of these people and have the opportunity to start rocking shows with them and work with them in the future. And like everything Arist is doing is super sick. Like Taylor is such a nice guy. It's just gonna be, it's cool to see. It's cool to be like in the beginning of it where everything's starting to bubble. And I feel lucky to be here.
That's what's up, man. So as we're moving forward as a scene, like you said, there is more attention now to Portland. Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about losing that, like Portland losing what got it here? I've had an opportunity to have conversations with folk who've talked about the fact that, in a sense, it's kind of cool that there's this huge influx of people to the city because they're bringing new energy and coming from all over the place, bigger cities, New York, LA, Atlanta. And Portland has always been a little unique in what it's done. Is that something that's even crossed your mind?
It's weird because it's like people are starting to discover the best secret in the world, and it's over here in little Portland, and everyone's moving here, and now all the traffic and everything that's coming in. And I worry that, with anything, once you make it popular, it starts to kind of lose its uniqueness a little bit. but I don't think that touches our music as much in a way, you know, because I feel like so many of the artists rep Portland so hard and they've lived here forever and they know what it's about. And I think, you know, with a little bit of national attention, people are going to come here and Portland's a new place to rep. So they get excited and they're like, yeah, I'm going to come rep Portland. But it's like, no, like you got to pay attention. You got to get involved in the community. You got to support the local people. And yeah, I hope it doesn't touch the music. I really hope it doesn't. Yeah. It's not gonna on my end.
That's what's up. No, that's really cool to hear. Because I know that some people feel that, you know, it's hard to see folk who've repped Portland for a number of years not be talked about, you know, with what's happening. Right. But like you said, it is cool to see artists like Vinny Duane and Mike Gibbs who rep Portland to the fullest. Who are, you know, people are definitely recognizing what they're doing.
But that's something that I think was frustrating for so many Portland artists was when Drake came out with Portland to not get a Portland artist on that track felt weird. It just felt kind of inauthentic a little bit. It's a sick song. I mean, the beat's crazy, and you know, for Travis to bring Drake out and do that song here was huge for the city because no one's ever done that in Portland. But it just felt a little weird to, you know, even like at the least, like he could have reached out to Emine and put him on the song. Like it just felt kind of weird to use the city and use that name and then not give any love to it. It'll be interesting to see, you know, if there's the remix and you end up getting somebody on there. All right, so you talked about the beat being sick. I gotta ask you, production wise, like who does Wynne want to rhyme over? That's a really good question. I have that line in Catalyst that's like, I could rock over Pete Rock or Metro Boomin, Loop It Kid. And that's so true for me because I grew up doing Pete Rock, Just Blaze, Ninth Wonder. But now I feel like my voice doesn't ride over those beats very well just because of the timbre of it is super different. So right now, I think some of the people who I'd really want to work with would be like, honestly, I'd love to work with Kanye. I'd love to work with Travis Scott. Wonder Girl would be sick. She's so talented. And just to work with, I think she's my age too.
Oh, word.
And like, that would be sick. I would work with Metro Boomin.
Okay.
I mean, that is the lane. And I would make it my own. I couldn't do the 21 Savage, the Gucci Mane type stuff, but some of the stuff Drake rocks over, I really like. And I feel like I'm able to find my own pockets in those beats and really turn them into my own. And there's a lot of, I think once I find the right producers to work with, because I describe songs weird, like I hear colors and I hear like shapes and things. So once I find a producer that I can vibe with on that level, I feel like I'll have a totally different sound. Like I took a trip to LA in November and I worked with a dope band called Chase Atlantic, which isn't hip hop at all. They're 3 guys from Australia and they make kind of like punk rock with like a little trap influence. And they're such talented producers. And I walked in and they're all about my age. And this guy Christian, he goes, I was listening to your stuff and I heard that, you know, you're experimenting with the trap side, but you also have that OG hip hop in you, so I made this. And it was perfect. It just like blew me away. Wrote a song in 15 minutes, recorded a demo, I was out of there. And it's those kind of people that I want to sit with that just are like, yeah, I heard what you make and this sounds like it, this is what it is. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is purple, this is what I've been looking for. So I'm excited to kind of experiment with sounds and buckle down with producers and just kind of hash it out. But right now it's a very like, it's kind of almost R&B trap a little bit. It's kind of like that.
I'm excited to hear some of the stuff that you're working on.
I'm
right
excited
now,
to show you.
That's what's up. So kind of on that lane, you know, when can your fans hear a little bit of new Wynne, man? Aside from at the end of the month,
mic check, July 27th, White Eagle. I'm hoping, I just finished a bunch of songs, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna start releasing them in the next few months. And I'm hoping to get some visuals with them. So I'm gonna wait a little bit longer if I can get those visuals, and but I definitely am gonna release them. So definitely soon. I don't want to give a specific date, but soon.
No. That's what's up. Is your sort of your thought process on releasing music? Because I always find this to be interesting. I'm talking to different artists. I know that some artists feel like, I just want to put music out there for my fans. I just want to just put it out there.
Right.
I know that then artists are looking at, should I put out an EP? Should I put out an album?
Yeah.
Are you in that thought process, or are you just kind of recording and seeing what happens?
I'm in so much of a developmental phase in what I'm doing that it's very much, let's just lock away, and if something clicks, it clicks. And I've been told there's kind of two ways to go about releases. One way is kind of like how Russ does it. Have you heard about Russ? He's kind of like a hip-hop, R&B kind of mixture, and he released a song once a week on SoundCloud for like a year, and he just kept going at it. And you can do that, and maybe, you know, everything, it's kind of hit or miss, but you're constantly putting things out. Or you can lock yourself away, release something once every 4 months, but it's got to be it. So it's kind of those two things. And with my team around me, we're kind of trying to figure out which one we want to start going with. Especially because I'm a full-time student still in college. It's going to be hard to be like, okay, let's release a track every week. So right now it's kind of like, if something sticks, if I really like something, I'm just going to put it out.
Gotcha.
And the next one might not come for 3-4 months, but I'm at the position now that I'm confident enough in what I'm making to start releasing again.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. It's funny, I remember having a conversation with Kenny of Fresh Selects and some of the artists that he has on the label. That's kind of how he's found them. You know, he's found these artists who are just releasing stuff solo. Just, you know, put out enough material for a whole album, or maybe put out a EP on their own, and he so dug them and reached out. And so, you know, I know things definitely happen that way. So again, it'll be exciting to see what comes next from you. So like I said, I follow you on social media. But if people are trying to get more of an inside look of who you are and where you are, what's the best way to do that?
You can find me on all social media: Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, almost rest in peace, YouTube, my website. It's all at Sina Wynne, SinaWynne. Sina Wynne.
It's nice and easy that way.
Nice and easy.
That's what's
They
up.
used to all be different, and I had to change it because it was too complicated. Be like, this one's this, and this one's this, and if you Google this, you won't get this one.
Right.
Too much. Branding. Important.
I know, exactly. And that's what I was going to say. It's so dope that your branding is so unique.
Oh, thank you.
Because it makes it really easy to, to find you. Dude, I'm just excited to have an opportunity to sit down and chop it up with you.
I'm excited to chop it up with you. I haven't seen you in a minute.
I know, exactly.
Since like February.
I don't even remember the last time.
March.
It was probably when the last time you came on the show.
Yeah.
No. It was at.
It was a Team Backpack.
Yeah, it was a Team Backpack. That's right. What else you want to put out there for your folk, man? What else you want to let people know?
Spread love to people. Always be positive. I read a quote one time that said, "Nothing that today does to me will prevent me from being positive." Wow. And that's important. That's all I want to say. That's what I want to put into the world.
That's what's up. My friend Wynne. It's been so cool to build with you, and I'm really excited for,
Yeah, thank you for embracing me and bringing me into this hip-hop culture here. It's sick.
Man, you make it easy. So there's a lesson to everybody out there, man. See what this young woman has done, man. She's passionate about the art form. She's studied the art form. She's being true to herself and the art form, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's not just about the glitz and the glam. It's about the art, utilizing the platforms that we have to spread love for real.
Yes.
So once again, man, you can check Wynne out live at the White Eagle. She's going to be rocking a set at Mic Check. We're really, really excited to have her. She'll be on the bill with some other amazing artists. And we get to have Mike Crenshaw back.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
so great. Dope. And this is the first one of the new season, isn't it?
Yeah, because we did the 1 year last year. That was sort of the official kickoff of year 2. Vinny Dwayne crushed it, but yeah, man. after dropping the store, and then the mic check T-shirts.
Yeah, cop some shirts.
Yeah, we'll have. They're all. You can get them on the short.
I'm a cop one.
And you're an artist now. You're gonna be an official mic check artist. There's all kinds of benefits that come with that.
Yeah.
My first time getting to see Jay Lava rock, so we're excited about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's also going to be the first opportunity to, if you're an MC and you want to try to get on in front of an audience, man, we're doing the mic check open mic. It'll be the first night for that, so you can come through. Just hit me up, DJ Klyph, anywhere on social media or on the website, djklyph.com. And then, like I said, you're going to hear more about the Time-Based Art Festival 2017 edition with Wynne, Champagne Dwayne, and DJ OG1. So really looking forward to that. So, man, just like you said, a lot of good stuff going on this summer. And excited.
A lot of good stuff coming.
To build.
Absolutely.
All right. What else? That's it? We good?
That's it. I think we're good.
All right. My friend Wynne, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. The first of many.
Klyph Notes.
All day, baby. All day. All right, y'all. Y'all be blessed. Peace.